site in each region. And that's dependent upon enrollment. We just don't know what's out there yet, but that's the plan right now. We'll open those buildings up, bring in people so they can put eyes on classrooms, what that looks like, have an opportunity to interact with those building principals and just see the building more, because people are curious, assuming that there are some folks out there that have never stepped foot in any of our buildings before. So let's just give them an opportunity to relieve some of that anxiety. Not everyone's a veteran parent yet, so somebody like the Mashad's coming in like, hey, we've done this before. But others are curious, right? What does it look like in Forest Hills? So they'll have those opportunities to interact. So we're going to put some information out there as well. Those are some key dates that are coming. There'll be a full presentation. You'll have access to it. We'll be doing that tomorrow for board curriculum. In addition, the second update that I have will be on high school, the updates to the course description guide. We had some course deletions, some course additions that we were looking at. Probably the biggest thing to note would be the changes to high school ELA. So in place of English 9, English 10, we've moved to what we're calling pre-AP English 1, honors pre-AP English 1, that'll be for our 9th grade students. 10th grade will have pre-AP English 2, and in place of the honors, they can do AP seminar. So really sort of increase that rigor. We also like what pre-AP has offered for students. So those are some changes. We also are listening to our science teachers. We are going to be introducing a chemistry 2. It'll be for a half semester for those students that want more chemistry. So that'll be a course that we're proposing as well. So those are some of the major changes that we were looking at. Not even majors, but just adding those to the course description. We are looking at putting together a report card committee as well to take a peek at our elementary report card. So we'll have more information on that, but we're just putting plans together to just take a look, like, is it meeting our needs? I suspect we'll be surveying our community as well. Like, are you getting the type of information that you need? If yes, what do you like about it? If no, where can we do a better job? We'll also be interacting with teachers, asking for building principals to send some teachers to us to do a deeper dive on that reporting tool. So that's something to sort of stay tuned on. We are watching the changes with MDE. Things are coming with the dyslexia bill. We're still trying to figure some of those things out. There's changes that are coming. The state hasn't been super clear yet as to how those are going to impact locals, but we're keeping an eye on that. We've been helping to support plans for January 20. We've got a staff learning event centered around safety and security. Excited about that. That should be a great day. And then one thing to note as well, all elementary buildings will be offering what we're calling a literacy night. The instructional coaches, or our MTSS coaches, are working with building principals to put on a night basically that supports literacy and for families. So if you have sort of a wondering as a parent, like, what are some things that I can do to work with my child around the areas of literacy? That's sort of what that night's going to be about. So every elementary will be communicating with their families as to the specifics of when that takes place. But as a system, we're going to be offering those. So, any questions? What's happening with curriculum?
Hey, can you go back and do all the part that I missed?
You didn't miss that much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
we had this, yeah, we're good.
Roads were a little dicey.
What prompted the report card? Was it just kind of time to relook at it, or was there? If it's a short story.
Yeah, no, it's
Sure, fine.
it's one of those things that a lot of people have opinions about the report card and what's working and what's not. I suspect it's one of those things that we just haven't gotten to for a while. And when I just talk to people, sometimes they'll say, hey, this, we've had to sort of, make something for this particular area. Or I'll talk to parents that are like, this isn't super helpful. I don't understand where my kids are. And really, there's a strong desire, like, it's a snapshot, but if parents aren't getting the type of information that they need to know where their kids are, we want to be really transparent with that. And so years ago when we went to standards-based reporting, that was a big move back, I don't know, that might have been 15 years ago. And so I just wonder if we can refine that. There might not be wholesale changes, but there are some things on the back end as well with technology and making sure that things integrate better. I just think that's an area that we can probably make some improvements for both teachers and families as well. And also taking a look at the things that we're reporting out. Are parents getting the data that they need to make informed decisions?
Excellent. That was a great idea.
That's my report, Julie.
All right, so that takes us to the discussion and information portion of the agenda. First off, we have our monthly financial statement, so we're reporting out through the month of December for our current year plus a cast back to last year. So similar to what we've been seeing in terms of our trends. We're 50% of the way through this fiscal year and 35% of the way through our school year. So really not anything different to note. I did, other than I added one new comments in the comment section related to central services, and we're trending a little bit higher in that area, and that's because the payment of the software licenses, you typically do those earlier, so we've been paying those as they become due, so you trend a little bit ahead sometimes on that. And then I just have a brief bond construction update. No pictures. There's not a lot going on right now in terms of changes from what we've been seeing. So our construction in progress, Ada Vista, is 99.9% done. We've got a couple items to finish. Teachers are all moved into their new spaces, and encourage you to get over there and walk through that space. It's just a lot different and a lot nicer for our students, so we're pretty excited about that. Pine Ridge continues to go very well. I hate to say that out loud because that means something will happen, but we're going to have our final phase turnover at spring break, and then that project's scheduled to be done this August for them. Eastern Middle is right on target as well. Is scheduled to be complete in May, and we actually are thinking of moving in a little bit sooner. We're meeting with the office and looking at potentially actually a spring break move-in for that, so we just want to make sure all's good for that. The two athletic projects over Eastern and Northern continue to move along. I haven't been made aware of any challenges with that lately, so those continue to move. And then pending your approval, and we'll talk about it here in a couple minutes, for Central High Learning Environment, those bids went out, they came back, and so we have recommendations for you here today, and of course at Monday's meeting on the consent agenda. But construction would begin for that project this June. Take a full 2 years to complete. And then we yesterday, the construction and design team got together and we met with the Central High staff after school and presented everything to them, talked through phasing, talked a lot about what it's like to teach in an environment where there's construction going on and what that looks like. And I think what was great is the site superintendent is Jeff Deemer, and he was the site superintendent at Central Middle. So he's got a great relationship with the principal, and it works really well. And he was at the meeting yesterday and could talk through some of that. So now they saw for the first time the person whose face they're going to see every day-ish, if you will, right? And Jeff said a couple times, it was hilarious. I'm here when you're here, and I'm here when you're not here, kind of thing. So it was cute, but well received. A few questions, but I think we'll get more afterwards, right, when people start to reflect on it and start thinking, oh, well, what does this mean, and that type of thing. And when they see the phasing plan and how it impacts them. So John hasn't rolled that out to them about, okay, you're moving here, you're going to move into this temporary spot, it's going to be for 4 months, it's going to be for 8 months, that type of thing. So a lot of times that's where you get more of the questions for that. And then we have our roofing, paving, and mechanical at a variety of locations. Some were approved at a prior fire meeting, we've got a couple more mechanical on the agenda today as well, but all those projects will be beginning in June. Design and project in progress rather. We continue to work the aquatic center. We are the latest design information was given, details were given back to OAK and our estimators, so they're running updated figures on where we might be at. We know we've got a little bit of work to do that. Last glimpse we saw here, we were about $3 million over our target budget with that. So that is what is going on with the aquatic center. And then Corey has been doing a lot of work related to the elementary playgrounds and that additional equipment, making it more accessible. He has met with the principals multiple times and are circling back with, okay, this is it, because our plan is to bring that to you next month for approval. We do, most of the schools we think we're going to be able to get done and target for this summer. We do have a couple that we're going to hold off. We need to plan a little bit better, and we would bring that free for the following summer for summer internships, but by and large, it is for this summer. Northern Hills, I should have updated that thing, but we're starting bi-weekly meetings here, and we actually have a meeting today with them, and they're working through those site visits and getting those scheduled with a couple different locations as a team to go meet and walk through. We'll continue design through July with construction starting next April, so April 26th. And that will be anticipated to be a 2-year construction period for that as well. Ada Learning Environment, we're continuing to meet with them. We've met just a few times, and we met last week, I think. So design through October, and then construction starts next June. And same thing with Meadowbrook. We've met with them 1 or 2 times, and we'll continue to design through December with the next summer construction for them. On the horizon, I'm shared this before as well, Northern High, the remainder of the building. Of course, we did that nice section with Project Next a couple years ago. And so we'll kick off in May coming up for them. So kind of been some quieter months here related to our construction and our design. That. Questions on that? All right. Next we have information on our operating millage. So I put together this little doc, and it doesn't show very well on the screen, so I'm going to do my best to kind of go through it here. I should start at the top and not at the bottom. I was making sure it worked. So just a reminder what the operating millage is. So this is a component of our foundation allowance. So the foundation allowance is made up of 2 different pieces. One piece is the operating millage, and the rest is some state funding. So those 2 together make up our foundation allowance, or our per pupil foundation allowance, which is $9,608 right now. So this structure was created back in 1994 through Proposal A and implemented in 1995. The local funding is capped at 18 mills, and it's levied against our non-homestead properties, so not your primary residence, but businesses, some agricultural. If you have a second home, it would be levied on that. And the important part for this too is that the state assumes that districts are levying the full 18 mills. So if you're not levying it, this sounds really crass, but right, the state doesn't care. They're assuming you're getting that. And so when they're calculating their portion, they run that math. They run what is Forest Hill's taxable value, and then they do it times the 18 mills, and they say, oh, okay, you're bringing in, I'm making this number up, $20 million. We need to give you $60 million to get to your $80 million for your foundation loan. So just a little bit of the why on what the operating millage is. And then I thought I'd just step back and kind of give us a picture of where have we been over the years, what have we done as Forest Hills. Every district does something different in the state. Some do it on an annual basis and go out to their community for that renewal. Some do it 2 years, some do it 5. You know, we have historically done it as a 10-year renewal. So back in May of 2005, our community renewed it for 10 years. At that point, the language that was on the ballot said it was a renewal of the 17.9424. You can see it was being reduced because property values were rising greater than the rate of inflation, and that causes a reduction. And you'll hear oftentimes a Headley reduction, and that's what that means. So when they went out for renewal back in 2005, when they put it on the ballot in 2005, they went for the renewal of the 17.9424 mils. They also asked for an increase of 0.4 mils so that they can get back up to the 18. Now, when you do the math, obviously 0.4 mils is, and adding it to the 17.9 is greater than the 18. We're capped at actually levying the 18. It just gave the district cushion so that if there were future rollbacks, then we were covered and we were still able to levy the full 18 mils that the state is assuming we're levying. So at that time, that represented about $18 million. The ballot language requires us to give that estimate in there. And you have in the board finance package, when we get to the current, you'll see that there's a sample language in there for it when we need to go out for it this time. So then it was a 10-year renewal, so similar for May of 2015. I was here at this time, and so we went out for 10 years, and at that point, we were above the 18 mils, so we just were able to renew at 18.3424. And that dollar amount at that time was only $15 million. If you remember, there was a big fallout in property values, right, back in 2008, 2009. So we had made the decision as a board at that time and as a district to go out for 10 years. And then over that course of that period, property values were increasing substantially, and there were many years that those values are rising faster than the rate of inflation. So we were having to roll back how much we could levy. So as a board, you authorized us to go out in November of 23 for the final 2 years of that 10-year cycle to ask for an increase to kind of restore due to the required Headley reduction. So our community approved that, and we're grateful for that. That represented about almost $400,000 of revenue that the state was assuming we were collecting, and we weren't at that point, which has helped us. And so that expires with the 2025 levy as well. Communication with our community related to this particular ballot language was in mid to late August. So fast forward to now, they're both set to expire in May of 25. So for the 2025 levy, rather, sorry. We've been working with our counsel, legal counsel with this, and we were recommending a 6-year renewal. So you can see the language would read very similar to what it did in May of 2005, and that we would renew our current levy rate, or what we've got left in mills, right? We can only levy the 18, but we've got a little bit of padding still, if you will, of 18.1297, and we'd also ask for the increase of the 0.5 mils, again, to protect us and hedge against future required reductions related to Headley. It represents about $24 million for us right now. If approved, it would expire with the 2031 levy. And what's nice about doing this new 6-year instead of a 10-year, like the kind of what we've been doing, is that we can tie it to the November 2030 presidential election. So then that helps, right? Because then there would be no cost to the district related to the election. We would tie into that one. It also provides us with a backup date of May of 2031. If it is not approved in November, then we could go out again in May of 2031 to seek that approval. And then if it's not approved, and again, reminder, the state thinks we're levying that 18 mils, right? And if it's not approved, then we can't levy it. We would lose about $24 million of revenue. And just doing some very high level math, that would be about 175 teaching positions. So certainly it's something that we want to make sure that, if you're authorize us, and we're not asking you to do that today. It is something we are going to bring to our February meeting. That we need as part of our explaining to our community, right, and our communication with them on the importance of it. What is it? Why is it important to the district, and what could it mean if it's not passed?
So can you scroll that
Yeah.
back to, so I can go, I just wanna understand,
Sure.
what, we said we can't go over 18 mils. It says 18.3424, which is over 18 mils, right? I mean.
So you can get authorization for more than the 18, but you can't actually levy more than the 18. So you ask for a little bit more, so to kind of protect yourself from that required rollback for head lease. So if our property values are growing faster than the rate of inflation, we have to roll back how much we can actually levy. So we're capped at the 18, that's the highest we can levy, right? But what we saw over the course of starting in May of 2015 up through when we went to the community back in November is the required rollbacks every year were so much that they took us below the 18 mils. So asking for additional mills for that authorization allows us to start at that higher 18.3424, right? Even though we can't levy more than the 18, Holly, we start at the 18.3424 related to the required rollback. And let's say that year that rollback is, I'm gonna do a 0.3. Then we read down to, okay, we're at 18.0424, but we still can only levy the 18. The following year, if it's another 0.3, now we're below the 18, and we would levy whatever that is.
So I guess my question is if we're asking for the increase, what does that do to taxes?
There,
The amount that will be
Like-
levied is 18.
is 18,
So-
and we levied 18
Right.
in 2024, and we will,
So I guess what I'm asking is will this change anybody's tax increase or decrease on their taxes if we do this?
not right now, it won't, no, because right now we're levying the full 18 mils.
This is a renewal.
This is, yeah,
So it's what they're currently facing, but it's also, keep in mind, it's not the primary residence.
So, right, so, but the gap in between, let's say we don't do this, right? You said it's 24 million, where would the 24 million go if we didn't do it? Like, does it just sit out there?
we wouldn't receive the 24 million.
Right, but who's holding that? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, we wouldn't receive it, but who?
Nobody.
Owners of
Nobody.
homes,
The
right.
property owners would not be,
Right.
that would not be
Homesteads.
charged, so they would not see that on their tax bill for the businesses.
So unfortunately, when Proposal A was put into place, they forced communities to still partially pay for the per pupil.
Right.
So we really, in order for our students to get the same amount, or to get the requisite amount, we have to have the community support in that, or have less per pupil for our students, which is not a good way to go.
See, so right now, Holly, we have 18.1297, kind of in the, it's hard to, this is the hard part that's hard to think. That's what we have the ability, right? That's what we've got left in our mills that's been authorized by the community, if you will, knowing that we can't levy more than the full 18, right? 18's our, kind of our ceiling for what you can actually levy, what you can charge on the tax bill. So if a business were to look at their tax bill for this year, they would see a total of the 18.
And that 18 is by law, that's not
Yeah.
like district
Right,
discretion.
right.
You could change it, through a board vote or anything like that, just to be clear.
And that's basically what they paid every year for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
Is that 18 mils?
Yes.
So it's not a change.
So we wanted to at least give you this information today. I will, I don't have this document in the packet, so I'll follow up and share this with you and make sure that you have access to it, but we wanted to be able to walk you through it. And again, like I said, what I do in the board finance packet is the sample language that, our community would see on the ballot. We'll bring this
where the official number, 18.3, well, I guess the 18.1297 and then the plus .5, as opposed to just saying authorizes for 20 mils, authorizes for some number that we could never roll back, you know,
Yeah,
if it needs.
so you're capped at the increase of the, there are so many nuances with the operating millage when we were
Okay, so
talking
there's-
through it, when I was talking through it with legal counsel. And talking about our desire, right, and the board's desire to try to make sure that timing and and going out again in the number of years that we're going to ask, that we can tie it to an election that's already paid for, essentially, right, that we're kind of riding the coattails. And so it's all tied to that, depending on when you go and whether you can, how many mills you can say is increased, and if it's the renewal and the half a mil and the number of years, you're capped at the number. Because I said, oh, can we go for an extra mil instead of half a mil? And he said, no, you're capped at the half a mil
Okay.
for the increase. So it's
Yep.
all the rules and
Just as
nuances
what it is,
with
yeah.
it, yeah.